Hello, gay people. Welcome to episode 20 of Kings on the Aux, the podcast where drag kings talk music and gender performance. I'm your host, Caius Crow, also known as Ben. We are halfway through the year, and I'm very happy to introduce our first out-of-state guest for Season 2, Land Shark. He is the winner of the Mom's Basement Challenge Season 6 out of Pittsburgh's P-Town Bar. His drag is influenced by the metal genre, sketch comedy, and internet culture. I've enjoyed his work for a long time. When I was first developing this show, he was on an early wish list I wrote up for kings I really wanted to have on. And around the time I recorded episode 3 with my friend Dean Heartthrob, who has since moved to Pittsburgh, I was telling Dean how I hoped to record with Land Shark someday. We've been drag Instagram mutuals for a couple years, and I've always really admired his makeup and his sense of humor. I'm realizing now that this episode also marks the first time I've recorded with a king who I hadn't met face to face prior to our interview. So that's something else really amazing about building connections with this show when I might not have had the chance otherwise. There is a bonus game built into this episode where you can count how many cock and balls jokes we make, or just how many times we say balls, starting now. If you do the math, please contact me. Land Shark's performance of Big Balls by AC/DC is a story of science gone wrong, and it's also delightful queer art. I hope you enjoy our conversation. I must admit, before we get into the mix itself, I have a confession. When I'm talking to, other king friends about, oh my god, my super cool mutual Land Shark, I have sometimes referred to you, respectfully, as Mr. Shark, and what this performance has taught me is I've been underselling your credentials, and it's Dr. Shark, actually. So I hope we can get off on the right foot. You can forgive me for that.
I mean, the sort of legality of the doctorate is, we don't need to go into how Dr. Shark got his PhD, but...
It's a dubious doctorate.
Right.
Okay. I feel a little better then. Maybe it's okay. Nevertheless, I won't make the mistake again.
I mean, clearly his success rate is not great. The side effects of the things that he creates are... there needs to be some more experimentation done.
Yeah. Maybe not enough peer review yet.
No.
Yeah. As we were talking about before we got on the mic, this is the first time that we've actually met for a live conversation. I want to talk a little more about just your drag. How long have you been doing it?
It will be 4 years by the end of this month.
Whoa!
I started in right after Pride 2022. I feel like there's always a big boom of people right after Pride, and I was definitely one of those. I had an interest in doing drag for years prior. Here's the deep lore. So I went to an open stage in 2020, right before the pandemic, as a queen.
What?
Yes, I went in queen drag. I went to an open stage. I could not find the sign-up sheet, and I was too afraid to ask. So I just sat and watched the show in this queen drag, didn't introduce myself to anybody. I was so anxious the whole time, and then I left, and I was like, okay, well, maybe we could try again. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So then I didn't really go out and do it for a while, because honestly, I didn't really want to be a drag queen, but I wanted to be able to wear makeup and look pretty, and I thought that was really the only way to do it. And then in 2022, I went to a show that had some kings in it who were, they were very, very pretty. They were gorgeous. They were still leaning into some form of femininity, and I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. It just clicked with me instantly, and a month later, I did my first open stage.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, especially because I'm thinking about the ways that a lot of people had out of drag gender realizations in that window from 2020 into 22, and then it's cool to think of like Land Shark emerging after that like period of contemplation and then realization.
I realized in 2019 that I was non-binary, which at the time I was in beauty school, which it's very interesting to realize that you are not woman when you're in a woman-dominated industry.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, I know I have this interest in doing hair, makeup, all those things, but it wasn't resonating with me in the same way that it was resonating with a lot of my classmates. And so drag seemed like just an outlet for that.
Yeah. No, and I do think that's something that I think is so cool about like drag king expression is how like so many guys are like, yeah, like they have this like very exaggerated, like confident masculine persona, but also like he sparked.
I think the first thing that really unlocked it was when Billy Porter came out in the tuxedo dress. I saw that and was just like, I want to be that. And I didn't have a word or a definition for it at the time, but it clicked instantly. And now I feel like that's sort of been the big blueprint of where my drag is at.
Nice. Yeah. Oh god, I remember that dress like breaking the trans internet. That was so cool.
I actually did get to perform in front of Billy Porter once. He was at, I don't remember if it was like a show, like a book show or an open stage, but he was at P-Town Bar because he's from Pittsburgh. It was during Pride season, and he was like no one really like came up to him. It was clear that he was just like there to chill, have a good time. I didn't want to bother him, but I saw that he was there while I was performing, and I'm just like, you have no idea that you are part of the reason that I am standing right here, right now. Yeah. So that was just like a cool full circle moment.
Definitely. That's like a bucket list kind of experience right there.
Right?
4 years. How would you say that your king persona has changed in that time? How have you come to like understand Land Shark better over time?
I've definitely stopped caring as much about what other people's sort of idea of what a king is. Because I think for a lot of people, when they think of a drag king, they think of just like very strict masculine, like here is an AFAB person typically who is going full mask, trying to look like a, 100% cis man. And that is completely valid. And I love that form of drag. But I always knew from the get go that that wasn't me. And the more that I performed and the more that I sort of experimenting with that and experimenting more with my femininity, my drag, I realized it was actually really well received. And I had people coming up to me and saying, I didn't know that you could do drag like that, which is how I got started, by seeing kings do the same thing.
That is something that I really like about just like seeing like a scene like grow and change, is that like eventually like you realize without even knowing it you've stepped into this role of like inspiring people and like making people feel like giving people permission to do that thing, you know?
It's like I joke that sometimes being a drag king is a little bit like an MLM. Where it's like we just go, we do our thing, and then like people come up to you after the show and be like, I want to do the thing, and then 2 months later you're seeing they're doing their first open stage, and I'm like, look at that, here we are.
Yes. Yeah. I think the analogy works a little too well because of the investment that is required for not a whole lot of financial return necessarily.
Right.
Yeah, I like the visual of the drag king pyramid scheme. But it's fun and it's expressive and it's fulfilling. It's worth it.
I always want to treat like drag in general like we're all kind of on the same page. Like it doesn't matter if you're a queen, king, thing, whatever. Like we're all here to do gender bent stuff and entertain. But at the end of the day, like RuPaul's Drag Race existed when I was a teenager, but it never resonated with me because it was so strictly queen. And that's great that it resonates with a lot of people and inspires them to go out and do drag, but it didn't do that for me. So it just felt like this art form that I wanted to be a part of, but didn't see a space for myself. And then when I saw performers that resonated more with what I wanted to do, I realized, no, I can do this. I'm just not on TV. And then I got exposed to Dragula and realized that, hey, there are a bunch of King's things and everything in between on there. And now we have King of Drag.
Yeah.
Which is its own platform too. So it's been really interesting to just sort of see in general how drag outside of myself has evolved and how I've been able to evolve with that.
Definitely. Like, yeah, I started, I think it was like a little over 3 years ago. And even then, I like did not necessarily anticipate that we were going to get like a king-centered show, like King of Drag.
Right.
Seeing how, I mean, there's still a long way to go. I would not say yet that kings have entered like the mainstream, as it were, which what does that even mean when it comes to drag? But it's definitely like knowing that there are more king-centric spaces is something that is really like, it's really like exploded in the past few years even.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I want to see more integration in the long run, but I think we're on some good first steps.
I agree.
And then we have Velma Johnny Jones, who was
Right.
on Canada's Drag Race.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see more of. It's like, okay, you can't go, full 100% king on Drag Race, but like, they did a very good job at presenting both sides of what they could do. And they did well with both sides.
Yeah, I remember like seeing Velma slash Johnny's run and like looking like on the periphery because I still haven't watched Canada's Drag Race sadly, but I remember seeing like we have like a king look on the main stage.
Yes.
I agree, like that kind of balance of like having spaces that are like explicitly king spaces and like celebrating kings, but also like having multiple types of drag in the same arena like that.
Exactly. Because I don't see anything wrong with an all queen space personally, because there is a difference. But when it's sort of an oversaturation, that's when I think, a lot of kings and things were just like, hey, what about us?
Yeah.
So it's nice that we're finally getting more platforms.
Definitely.
Including this podcast.
Yeah, that's like exactly good setup. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I like have focus on like the narratives and the stories that we're telling. It's been great to like see all of the different, like even within King Drag, there's so many like different tones and genres. Like we're finally doing an AC/DC episode. Like that's exciting. Let's talk about the mix that you brought for the show.
You just want to talk about my balls so bad.
Listen, I've been thinking about it. We have not been talking about balls enough. I was like going through previous episodes. I'm like, wow, I think there's like maybe 2 mentions of balls of any kind in over a year. That's we have to fix that right now.
Meanwhile, you watch an episode of King of Drag and there's going to be 5 to 10 ball and dick jokes within the first 10 minutes of the episode.
Dude, we have to measure up.
Right.
We're behind, but we're fixing it now. You have this mix, Big Balls by AC/DC, and the spoken clips cut into it. So how did you go about putting that story together and recording the audio for it?
So I was in a competition that's held out here in Pittsburgh. It's called the Mom's Basement Challenge.
Yes.
They do it, like, I want to say 2 to 3 times a year. It is a 4-week competition where it's elimination style every week. And for the 3rd week, we were all assigned a prop. And the prop that I was assigned was a yoga ball. And I already had one of those sit and bounce balls at home. The second I saw that I was getting a big ball, I knew Big Balls by AC/DC. Like, I didn't even have to question that was going to be the song. I found that song when I was, I think, 13 or 14 years old, and it has just lived rent-free in my brain. Like, even as a teenager, like before drag was even the picture, I was like, I want to do something artistically with this song at some point. And obviously I can't be 13 years old singing it at the school talent show. So I'm glad it's been in my back pocket this whole time. And that actually, Big Balls was one of the very first numbers that I ever performed. It was like maybe my 2nd or 3rd week ever doing drag. And I performed the song straight through. And I did a bunch of like ball reveals in my outfit. It went horribly. Every single reveal went wrong. Like, I knew my words, but it was a big idea that I wasn't ready to execute. So when I got assigned this ball for this competition, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to make this number into something. I don't remember how I came up with the idea of being like a mad scientist to make my balls bigger. I think I was just like, how can I turn this big ball into a testicle? What is the story that gets us to that point? Oh, well, I can be an inventor that invents something to make it big. So let's come up with this whole script. I have a lab coat. Let's wear that. It just kind of evolved from there. It was coming up with the actual rig of it that was the toughest part.
Yes. What are and if this isn't giving away too many trade secrets, what does go into making the ball reveals possible?
The ball reveal, so I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to do this on stage, which I have a few numbers where I sort of run off stage, change into something real quick. Maybe it's a known gimmick of mine at this point. I don't care. I'm good at what I do. Who cares? If you can't do flips and tricks, you have to find out another way to entertain the crowd, and that's my way of doing it.
Yeah.
So what I did, and this was like 2 days before I had to perform it, I was still trying to figure out how to put this together. I got a bunch of duct tape, and I taped the two balls together. I taped the absolute crap out of these balls. And I had a pair of strap-on harness underwear that has the hole in it. And I took a chain necklace and I put the chain through the handle of the sit and bounce ball and then looped it in through the hole of the underwear. And I slipped it on, and I was able to walk around with these balls hanging from the chain, hanging from my underwear. So I was like, perfect. All I got to do is run off stage, slip this underwear on real quick, and then get out there with those big balls. And it worked. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I was kind of amazed that it did, but here we are.
Yeah. Science. Engineering, it pays off.
Exactly. Maybe that's what the PhD is in. Maybe he's actually just an engineer.
Maybe. I don't know. Because, yeah, it seems like, biochemistry maybe did not super work out. He hurt himself real bad.
Right. Because the number ends with the ball still big. We have no conclusion to this. Land shark's still just walking around with these, like, massive swollen testicles.
Yes, that's true. That does remind me, for anyone who hasn't seen this iteration of this performance live, how would you describe, like, the movement of it? Like, how does it play out, start to finish on stage?
So it's a story. It's a story of a mad scientist who just got back from the Mad Scientist Convention, and he's sobbing. He's so upset because every year he goes and he presents these big grand ideas, and he just gets roasted for it. And he had this idea where he was going to make headless chickens live forever, but all they could say was, "Oh, so no head?" And so he's just sobbing, and he's going, "Oh, my dad always says I'll never get anywhere in life until I grow some bigger balls." And then he goes, "I got it. That's it. Bigger balls. I'm going to reformulate my cock serum and turn it into a ball serum." It's just a big cock and ball joke. That's all the number is. It's just cock and ball jokes. And so he inflates himself with the ball serum, which is literally just the pump that was used to fill up the balls, is what the serum container is. And then turn around, AC/DC starts playing, we reveal the lab coat, and there's two little, like, flesh tone balloons tucked into a thong to look like little swollen testicles. And then he's feeling his oats. He's getting all confident because the crowd's hyping him up. And he's like, "I feel so well endowed. I need them bigger. I need more ball growth." So he injects himself with more serum. And then he doesn't feel so good. So he gets off stage. And then that's when he wakes up. And now he's got these massive, massive balls.
"This is great. I feel so well endowed. I want them bigger. Yes, I need more ball growth."
And so, Dr. Shark injected himself with even more ball growth serum. But then, he started to feel very dizzy.
"Oh, I don't feel so good. I think I need to lay down."
But, as Dr. Shark drifted off to sleep, something horrible was happening inside him. His balls kept growing, and growing, and growing. And when he woke up...
So it's a little bit of like flying too close to the sun, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a metaphor here.
Yeah, I think so. I also do, like, in hearing you say it, it is cool how you can, like, camouflage the, like, practical need to run off stage with, like, he's got to lay down for a bit, he's not feeling so good. Like, there's a story reason why you have to leave the stage in addition to, hey, I just need to get these damn balls back on.
Yes, and that's something I try to be really mindful of because, especially since I was doing this for a competition, I really wanted to make sure that the number didn't have any, like, dead air. Like, that's something that I know judges are looking for, is they want to be entertained the whole number, and if there is any sort of dead air, it needs to have a really big payoff. And I was nervous about the idea that I was leaving the stage for part of my number. I'm like, is that sort of seen as me not really performing? But that's why there's still that audio going of, I have a whole narrator in this number too. And the narrator is saying, like, Dr. Shark went to lay down when he wakes up. And then there's a Wilhelm screen, which is me reacting to having these massive balls. And then my favorite part of the number, which I don't know if other people think this is as funny as I do, but just the big balls music coming back in, like just the intro repeating itself like it does the beginning of the number. There's something to me that's so funny about a track just starting over. I don't know why. Like, I crack up so hard every time I hear it.
Well, yeah, because it's like a record scratch effect, basically, if you're going to the beginning like that.
Exactly. See, you get it. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's also like, I think that something about this track that makes that work is the way that, like, the way the guitar sounds, it is almost like a sitcom sting, like, out of context.
It's just a really funny song on its own that honestly could be performed straightforward and I think would still land. But I'm very proud of the gimmick that I've made surrounding it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it is just 3 minutes of someone going, I got big balls, I got big balls.
No, I think the frame story does, like, make a big difference. Because, like, it's still, no matter what, no matter how you play the song, it's going to be goofy. It's going to be, at least 3 minutes of cock and ball jokes. But with the way that you frame it, it's also, like, I like how you said earlier, like, it's sort of like flying too close to the sun, and it's like a commentary on masculinity in a way, because with where we start, Land Shark just really wants approval from the mad scientist community, and also his dad.
Right, there might be a little bit of, projecting there, but that's another thing that I love about drag is I like being able to take things that, like, bother me on a personal level and struggles that I'm going through outside of drag and project it into a number. And it doesn't always have to be like a big emotional sad number. It can be something funny like that too.
Yeah, because, like, I do think about, like, a lot of, like, transmasculine people who are, like, thinking about, like, damn, this is something about my body that's just not making me feel like I'm, like, meeting the standard. And then, what's interesting about the mix, like, to me, is that, like, because he goes for it, and then he goes too far, and then he ends up really hurting himself in this search for approval.
And then the number's over.
Yeah.
He has not picked himself back up by the end. He is literally, he basically gets, like, crushed to death by his own balls or his own hubris. Yeah, that's totally why I planned with this number, and you totally didn't just, like, put it into a new perspective. That was, yeah, I meant to do all that.
Well, I mean, it's all right there. It's like it's a classic mad scientist story where it is you destroy yourself in your own hubris. It's just
Exactly.
usually not also funny when that happens. The first time that you tried to execute it with the multiple reveals and they weren't going off right and it was, like, just the song straight through, what do you feel like you learned, or, like, what really changed, like, from one version to another? Like, what changed to make you feel like you could execute it better and with more confidence?
I think realizing that I sort of do better a lot of times with drag that more so tells a story. Like, I think the original concept could work for other performers. I could definitely see people, just doing the song straightforward, and they're just, because the joke with that wasn't balls as in testicles the first time I did it. It was just, here's a beach ball that I'm pulling out of my shorts. Here is a ping pong ball that I'm pulling out of my hat. I think that could work for certain performers, but I didn't have the technical skill to execute those reveals at the time. And I still don't know if I have that technical skill, but I know that I can tell a story and I can execute that. And I think before I did drag, I did theater, as many of us have done. The theater kid to drag kid pipeline is real.
Yes.
So I think the first time I did it, I was still stuck in a more rigid idea of drag where I was like, reveals, that's what gets the crowd going, rather than thinking what actually works for me and the skill set that I have. Because I can have an idea, doesn't mean that that idea is meant for me to perform, or at least not meant for me to perform at that given time.
That makes sense. Yeah. Cause yeah, if I think about the way that you described it, and like in the like video clips that I've seen of you doing the like mom's basement version of it, is that it does kind of turn on those like two key reveals of the balloon version and then the yoga ball version. It's two reveals that you like really build up to, and we like know exactly where they are in the story, rather than being like
Yes.
a lot of rapid fire reveals.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Knowing where you excel like that is like a really important learning experience for a lot of people.
I think knowing your strengths as an individual is one of the most important things that will help people improve and grow in their own drag and be able to show people what they can do. Oh, my cat's running it. Hi.
Aw. What's your cat's name?
His name is Hopper.
Aw, hi Hopper.
He's upset that he's locked in here right now.
Uh,
Sorry, let me backtrack for a second.
You're okay. It's a time-honored tradition of there's been a cat involved in the recording of I think like more than half of our episodes at this point.
Just the fact that he just ran right across the screen. I'm like, it's always about you, isn't it? You get that attention seeking from me, huh?
Yeah. It's a little Devo. Yeah.
But yeah, I think performers understanding their own strengths, where they're at currently, is going to be the biggest thing that helps people improve, helps people grow, helps get their name out there, helps show other people what you can do, because you can have goals in mind of where you want to be. But until you are there, you are not there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes I see a lot of people, especially when they're newer, and I did this a lot myself when I first started, is you kind of fly too close to the sun. You try to shoot for bigger than what you're capable of at the moment, and then it feels like failure.
Yeah.
Well, really, it's not failure. You just you learned something about yourself in that moment.
I do think that mindset of like when you do like bite off more than you can chew as a performer, you're still like, it still taught you something. It taught you how to get closer to that goal, and it taught you like what your current skill set is. Like I think that that's a good mindset to have, rather than like beating yourself up and not wanting to try it again. Yeah.
Exactly. Because the first time, that was my second time doing that competition whenever I did the big balls number. The first time I did the competition, I'm still very proud of myself for how I did. I got second place, but I knew when I did my final number that while it was a great concept, it was just a bit, I don't know if I want to say above my skill level at the time, but it wasn't where my skills were at. And so I didn't execute it as well as I wanted to. And who knows, still might have lost anyways, because the person who won is freaking phenomenal. But it did teach me that, I was just a little too ambitious, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we need to learn from those things rather than beating ourselves up over it and saying like, oh, I'm not a good performer, I'm not working hard enough, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, you are a good performer. You just need to find what you excel at, because everyone has different skill sets. And I think sometimes it's so easy to get lost in seeing what other people are doing and sit there and go, I want to be them. Don't try and be them. Be you. If you see something that someone else is doing that resonates with you, that's one thing. But be you.
That's how scenes are going to get artistically stronger and like really like beautiful to witness if everyone is doing like the thing that only they can do, learning from each other, of course, but like also like where are your passions, where are your skills, and like what is like your signature thing.
And I think that can be really scary when you're first starting out, especially if you don't really see any other performers that are doing what you want to bring to the table. Like, you might think, is there even a space for me? Yes, no one else is doing it. That's specifically why you need to go out and do it.
Yes. I would definitely like to talk about the local drag scene in Pittsburgh, because like I said before we got on the mic, I haven't talked to quite as many Pittsburgh Kings, even though there is a lot of interplay between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So like we're like spiritually neighbors. 3 hours might as well be next door. How would you describe Pittsburgh drag and like what the community and the artistry have been like for you in these 4 years?
It's changed so much in these 4 years. I entered at a time where honestly the community was struggling to heal from some things that had happened. I don't know all the details because it happened right before I entered.
Right.
But I got that sense immediately that there was some sort of trying to regroup that was happening. I sometimes feel like the scene didn't really have like a voice. Like we definitely had like innovators and movers and shakers, but they weren't people that I felt like everyone could resonate with or look up to. And then, have to bring her up, Miss Lydia Butthole Collins.
Well, yes.
Getting on RuPaul's Drag Race was an absolutely major game changer for Pittsburgh. And I had always said that if anyone from Pittsburgh was going to be on Drag Race, she was going to be the next person. And I would have people tell me, like, really, you think it's going to be her? Like, she's so, like, punky. Her drag is so unique. And I would always say, yes, that's exactly why I think if anyone could do it, it's her.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that she brought that, that punkiness, that very authentic her to a national, international stage that is inspiring people not just here, but all over the world. Honestly, like I don't even know how to describe the experience of that, because her success has also given a lot of us here success too. And not in like a piggybacking way either. Just in a, we see what she's doing. Let's look and see what the other people in the hometown are doing. Oh, this person's doing this that's really cool. This person's doing this that's really cool. And you get more eyes on you, and it just opens up more people's idea of what all drag can be. And it definitely, I think anytime, from talking to people in other cities too, I think anytime that someone gets a big platform like RuPaul's Drag Race, it can also cause some, like, a little bit of stress in the community, because then people have that big, strong urge, like, okay, I want to get there too. And that's wonderful. I think that's a wonderful goal to have. But I think since some time has passed, now that things have sort of settled, it really just seems like it's helped continue to inspire people to be themselves.
That's a really good point. When I was like thinking about like what I wanted to ask you about Pittsburgh, I didn't consider that. But now that I'm thinking back to like when her season came out and then when her All-Stars run came out, I remember like it felt like Midwest drag in general kind of like lit up as a result of that. So yeah, I'm sure in the hometown it had to be crazy for a while.
I have noticed Midwest drag in general is very, very punky and very unique from drag that comes out in other parts of the country. And I don't know if it's just because, we all live in very boring areas and we gotta do something to really like spur that creativity. And I don't want it to seem like I'm like discounting drag from other cities too. I think it all has its time and its place, but I do personally really appreciate that very like raw, unfiltered, honestly unpolished. I love unpolished drag. I really do.
Yeah.
I love when I see more of the idea rather than it being a flawless execution. Because even with my big balls mix, it's like the balls were taped together with duct tape. You could see the duct tape, and if anyone were to question it, I would just say, well, you know how like some people's balls have that seam? That's what this is. That'd be my excuse for it. I was actually nervous that I was gonna get like docked points for that, and that the number wasn't going to be perceived well because it wasn't quote unquote clean enough.
But yeah, it's like you said, where you can see more of the raw edge to it. Yeah, it like I feel like it makes the audience feel like more connected to it, and like they trust you more because you're like a real person.
I think a lot about the sort of online discourse that happened during one of the season 17 episodes. I don't remember what the runway challenge was, but it was when Lydia had like the big anglerfish outfit, which I loved. I thought was awesome. Half the internet said some very unkind things about it, and the other half was going, wait, no, this is creative. This is so fun, and this is what drag is supposed to be. I don't want to see it always be perfect all the time. I want to see the rawness, the realness of it. And I really appreciated that people were able to see that and resonate with that, because that's what this is at the end of the day. It is just people having fun for ourselves, for the audience. Like, it's not that deep, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, pageantry drag is one thing. That's a whole different thing. But outside of that, let it be a little messy. Because being queer is messy. Playing with your gender is messy. Art is messy. Life is messy. Life imitates art. Like, why are we striving for perfection? What is perfection?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go on a whole therapy rant with that.
Yeah. It's gonna get existential, but still, like,
right.
I agree though, because it's like, I do think, especially because one thing of that about drag, that drag also like has in common with like live theater, is the way that it's this ephemeral experience. Like it's happening in the moment, and it's like it's never going to be exactly that way again. I think that having the unpolished edges of the look or the performance, like I like being able to see what was going on in the performer's head when they made this. I'm like, I can see your process, and like I understand you. Like we're having a moment, even though, you know, the audience, there's like, you know, dozens to a couple hundred people in the audience, and it's like, but like we're all having a moment with the performer who's putting out this like really vulnerable art that they made.
Exactly. And that, I think, is a really fun challenge with drag too, is especially when you're picking a song that the audience might not know. Like, I think it's great to go out and just do a fun like jukebox number that, you know, everyone's going to sing along with, but I do like to do songs that I know the crowd might not know.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge that I sort of give myself is, how can I present this in a way that still resonates with the audience, even if they don't get the reference, even if they don't understand the song. And that was why I came up with the whole mad scientist storyline,
Mm-hmm.
because it just felt like that was something that people could understand.
It's putting a new spin on like a narrative that they do know. Like we've thought about the mad scientist, we haven't thought about the drag king mad scientist, and we haven't thought about the ball growth serum, I'm sure.
Exactly. We should be thinking about it, though.
We should be. We're not thinking about it enough, honestly.
I think there's a lot of people who would want something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a market, and you can, like, you know, if you put enough warning labels on it, so that way you can't be held responsible if someone takes too much of it.
Exactly. Like, just straight up say, like, hey, this isn't FDA approved. You can't sue. I'm protected. So, now I gotta do a follow-up number where I get sued for selling the ball growth serum.
I would... No, because then Dr. Shark can have like his lawyer arc. Like, do you think
I have a lawyer number?
There's a lawyer number?
I do have a lawyer number, yes. Which I did for another competition. So this was the very first time I did the Mom's Basement Challenge, and the theme that week was Broadway. And my goal when I did that was, again, back to knowing your strengths as a performer, is I wanted to come up with a concept that I knew nobody else was going to come up with. Because you can just go out, you can do a Broadway number, you can perform it, whatever, that's great. But for whatever reason, when I was thinking of Broadway, I was thinking of Rodgers and Hammerstein, and I was thinking about how, to me, that sounds like two lawyer names.
Yeah.
Like Rodgers and Hammerstein, attorney at law. And so that was the concept of the entire number, where it starts off with a sketch. I'm on stage as one of the lawyers. There's a version of me on the TV that's another lawyer. Which I have not updated that video since I did it 3 years ago. So when I perform it now, I look at that old mug and I go, oh God, we left the house looking like that. But it gets better. If you're baby and you're looking at your mugs, I promise you it gets better.
Yeah, it does.
We were doing a lawyer commercial, and the lawyer on the TV goes, wait a minute, hold on. You do realize that Rodgers and Hammerstein are not lawyers from Oklahoma. They are playwrights who wrote Oklahoma, right? And I go, oh. And the other lawyer goes, okay, well, you're on your own. And I just go, Oklahoma, where the wind comes. And then it goes into that.
Nice.
And already I'm like, I'm a genius for coming up with that. And then the other lawyer comes back in at the end of the song and was just like, out of all the musicals, why Oklahoma? And I go, because the people love Oklahoma. And the other lawyer goes, I don't have a lot of confidence in that. And I say, well, I have confidence. And then it goes into, I have confidence in sunshine. Nice. I have confidence in rain, which are both Rodgers and Hammerstein's numbers. So when I presented this, I had no idea if it was going to land whatsoever. It did. Somehow it did. And it worked. So sometimes if you believe an idea strong enough, and in my experience, a lot of the times the audience will believe in it too.
Yeah. If you're committed to the bit, they want to come along with you.
Yes, because I've seen other numbers before too where I don't understand the references. I don't fully get the joke, but I get that the person who's executing it is executing it with their whole heart, their whole mind and soul. And so then I get sucked up into it and I enjoy it.
Yeah. But what I'm hearing, though, is that if Dr. Shark gets sued, Rogers and Hammerstein attorneys at law maybe could help him with his case. I don't know.
So we get the fake lawyers helping the fake doctor.
And that's drag.
Exactly. No, wait, but this ain't fake. What do you mean? I'm a cis boy. What are you talking about?
Yes.
I'm a cis boy with a mustache that's totally real.
Yeah. You can trust me. I would never lie to you.
Exactly. I'm nothing if not truthful. God, I love drag so much. I love how just absolutely silly it is. And I love how seriously we take something so silly.
Yeah.
It honestly cracks me up.
No, yeah. That's something that is, like, so fun. Like, especially, like, what you were saying earlier about how, like, the Rogers and Hammerstein, like, idea arising from, like, a word association of, like, that kind of sounds like you just pull something out. It's like a split second, like, word associative thought, and it, like, takes on a life of its own.
But I knew I had to find a way in the number to let the audience know where that sort of word association came from, so that's where we get into the bit of one of the lawyers being like, wait a minute, Rogers and Hammerstein aren't this, they're this.
Yeah.
And whether people get the full context or not at that point doesn't matter, because the story's already there.
That's a good point about, like, the balance of it, where it's like, yes, you're bringing your idea to life, but you also have to let people in on the joke, and also decide when you're letting them in on the joke.
Right. I do want to show you what I have sitting right next to me.
Please do. Oh my god, nice. That's so cool.
I didn't have that custom made. That's on Amazon for $25.
Yeah, no, because Land Shark, I remember one time I went to, like, there's a Land Shark that's, like, an affiliate of Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, it's my buddy from my phone, Land Shark.
When I picked the name Land Shark, I did not know it was a beer. I had absolutely no idea of that. People ask me if that's where the name came from all the time, and I say no, it came from Saturday Night Live. Because I am a big Saturday Night Live fan. Sketch comedy is, like, a big inspiration for a lot of my drag numbers. Land Shark has always been one of my favorite sketches. I think it's hilarious that Land Shark was created by one of the most notoriously awful people that has ever been on SNL, Chevy Chase. Fun fact, out of all the sketches that he presented for Saturday Night Live, that was the only one to get approved because all of his other ones were too inappropriate.
Ugh.
And even the Land Shark number is still, like, not the Land Shark number, even the Land Shark sketch, it is a bit of a misogynist sketch. It's a Jaws parody where he just eats women.
Oh, wow. I wasn't actually familiar with the Land Shark sketch. Can you give me, like, is that the pitch? It's a Jaws parody where he just eats women?
Yes, so Land Shark is literally just a Jaws parody. This was back when there was only the first Jaws movie, so the sketch, I think, was actually originally called, like, Jaws 2. And these people, they're trying to investigate this case where these single women in their homes keep getting attacked, and they're like, they're getting attacked by a shark. They're like, what do you mean they're getting attacked by a shark in their home? They're like, it's a land shark. And so the sketch will be the shark on the other side of the door, knocking, going, telegram, candygram, just trying to get anything to get these women to open up the door. And then when they finally open up the door, it's Chevy Chase in this giant, like, puppet shark head with the mouth just opens up, and the women just climb inside of it. And that's it. That's the whole joke. It's so stupid. And I love it.
Yeah. Low-key, though, that's drag. That's drag, though.
Dang it. And so when I was trying to think of what to pick for my drag name, which I didn't even have it solidified until I actually did my first open stage. I did not have it solidified until I looked at that sign-up sheet and realized I have to write something down right now.
Oh, yeah.
Land Shark was the name that I was using online, because I would always just kind of pick different, like, fun, silly, goofy names online, but that was the name that I had online at the time that I realized I was non-binary. And a lot of my online friends started calling me Shark, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this as a drag name, because I highly doubt there's another drag performer out there called Land Shark, and if there is, screw me, I guess. But I picked it, and here we are, 4 years later.
Yeah.
Stuck with it. Now, I can never get famous because I'll end up in, like, a Jane Sport situation.
Oh.
Or, like, a Patagonia.
Oh, no! Oh no, that's right. I mean,
Because it is trademark.
that's true. I don't know if the space might make a difference, but yeah, no, Patagonia got in trouble. That's so true. There's a ceiling. There's a ceiling on how famous you can get.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, as a drag king, that I shouldn't make that joke.
Well,
In the future. But as it stands, there's a bit of a ceiling.
yes.
But honestly, though, I kind of enjoy that there's like less pressure.
Mhm.
Like, it's so rare that people ask me like, "Oh, you ever audition for Drag Race?" And the only time people ever ask me that are people that like know nothing about the drag scene. And then I joke with them, and I'm like, "I'm a king who doesn't want me there." And they're always like, "Oh, don't say that." I'm like, "No."
We do kind of have documentation that, yeah.
Right. So I enjoy that there isn't this pressure to like try and go out and do something big and make myself famous. Like I can just, I don't know, like I'd like to be like a little local famous. That'd be cool, but there's also a lot of pressure with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I first started drag, I was about to turn 27, and I was so scared. I was like, I can't get famous this year. I'll join the 27 club. I'm scared. And then I turned 28. I went, thank God.
Okay, we're safe now. We're safe now.
We're good. Now we can get famous.
Yes, perfect.
You know what they say, fame is a gun.
Well, yes.
Speaking of drag, did you by chance see Addison Rae performing at the Grammys this year?
You know what? I don't think I did, but it sounds familiar. I feel like a lot of people saw it and talked about it.
She did a very, in my opinion, drag-esque performance of Fame is a Gun. Like, the way that she was, like, moving around out of different, like, backgrounds, atmospheres, the different props she was working with. I think she even did a change reveal at one point. I could be wrong on that. I don't remember. But it was so drag, and it was so camp. I don't think it was executed great, but I loved that she did it.
Yeah.
And I think of that all the time.
Yeah. No, I do. Even though I don't remember that particular performance, I do, like, it is so much fun to, like, watch something and go, like, yeah, that's, I see the aesthetic, I see the vision, like, it feels familiar, like, you know, it feels like the spirit of drag is in this star right now.
I feel like the spirit of drag has really, really made its way into pop music. And honestly, even rock music, too. Like, just in general, live performance. Drag has had a heavy influence on it.
Yeah, I agree. The flip side of that, though, is that there have also been multiple times that I was watching either, like, a song performance or a dance performance, and I'm, like, looking at the costumes, and I'm like, I don't like the way that was stoned. It should be, like, this pattern, and, like, they didn't do it right. That's the only thing, but I also do kind of get some joy out of, like, I feel like criticism can be its own joy, like, just, like looking really closely at something, even if you don't necessarily like what you see. It's fun to notice it. It's fun to know that you saw it, you know?
Especially if with the criticism, you can recognize what could have been done better.
Mm-hmm.
That's like any time that I'm asked to judge, like, these Mom's Basement Challenge competitions, I do get a little anxious doing it because I don't want to be rude to anyone. I want to be kind, but I also want to give honest feedback that is going to help people learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime that I see something that I think of a critique, I try to write down a note where I can suggest what could be done differently or better.
I agree that that's, like, something that's, like, when I'm, like, at a competition and I'm, like, listening to, like, the critiques that are being given out loud, that's something I always appreciate from judges is, like, don't point something out unless you have an idea of, like, how they could fix it. Like, it should all be, like, a learning experience, especially because then they come away, like, feeling like they can then improve that instead of just going, like, well, this sucks and I shouldn't have done it. Like, you want them to feel like they can make it even better.
Right? Like, I would get so frustrated when I was competing and I would get score sheets where, you know, I would have points docked, but then no explanation of why. And it's like, I'm not looking for answers to be like, what did I do wrong? It's, what can I do to improve?
Yeah.
Because you clearly saw a room for opportunity. So I want to know what that is so I can utilize that. And maybe in the end, we won't be on the same page. Maybe I'll disagree with what they think is a room for opportunity. But I still want to have those conversations and get that opinion and insight from people.
Yeah, even if you get, like, a critique that you don't plan to implement, it's still, like, it tells you something about, like, okay, like, this person or this audience is receiving it this way, like how that's something that I think about a lot in like the context of my like day job career where like I'm currently in grad school for creative writing. So a whole lot of it is like giving each other feedback. And you're going to get like 11 people telling you what you should do, and it's like you physically can't take all of that feedback, but you can think about like, okay, like whose vision do I know is like similar to my vision and the kind of art that I'm trying to make? Like, who is my audience for what I'm making? How are they receiving it? So, like, yeah, thinking a lot about like basically, even if you can't take all the feedback, I still like to hear it. I still like to know how it's being received, if nothing else, so I can make a judgment call about like where do I want to change it and like where am I content to be misinterpreted because maybe you weren't going to get it.
Exactly. Like, I'll never forget, this was pretty early on when I started drag, but I had someone in a dressing room be like, how come you never bind? How come you never tape your chest? How come you don't wear a chest plate? And valid questions, sure, but my answer is simply, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to in order to display the kind of persona that I want to display.
Yeah.
That was a form of criticism, but also, what was the root of that criticism? Like, are you saying that because you think I could look more masculine if I did those things? I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to look like Mr. Macho Man Randy Savage on the stage. And if someone is trying to look like that, yes, give them those critiques because that might be genuinely helpful for them. But for me, it wasn't a critique that resonated with me. And I just kind of took it and said, okay, this person doesn't understand my art and that is okay. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah. I definitely think that like in the face of like all of the people who have opinions on like how kings present themselves, I think that that's important for like emerging kings to internalize, is that like not all of the feedback that you're going to get is going to help you like crystallize and hone like your specific kind of art. Some of the feedback is going to be rooted more in like, this is what I think kings in general should be. It's not always coming from an understanding place.
Right, and I hear the same thing happen with queens, too. I know queens that have been told, like, oh, you need to pad more. You need to wear a breastplate. Why?
Yeah.
If they are still displaying their art in the way that resonates with them, if they can still be a character, because that's really what it's about, in my opinion. It's not about being a man, a woman, a thing, whatever. It is about being your character. If they're still presenting that, that is what matters. And if they choose to add those things to their character in their presentation, that's on them. Like, I didn't wear a wig for the longest time. And I wanted to wear wigs, but I just wasn't finding any that resonated with me. There is a lot of performers, especially kings and things, who don't wear wigs. That is fine. That is valid. And then I found my fun little crappy rat's nest 80s wig, and that's been what's working for me. It's about the character.
Yeah, exactly. As we're wrapping up, I want to make sure I do not neglect one of the ways that I know you best, which is as my number one ghost mutual. So,
I don't know if you can see.
Yes, he's right there.
He's also, he's right in front of me as well.
How many?
Oh, actually, right behind me is another one.
Okay.
And that little poster right there is Meliora.
Yes, nice. So yeah, that's at least 3 in the room. Yeah, so perfect.
So actually, you asked me if I'd been in Ohio in drag, not to perform, but to see Ghost in Ohio. I was in drag for that.
Nice. Which date? Which city?
That one was in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was the beginning of February, I think February 4th this past year. I woke up at midnight here in Pittsburgh, drove out to Cincinnati, got there by 5 a.m., waited in line outside in 17-degree weather up until 11:30 a.m., where they finally passed out the numbered wristbands. So you get your numbered wristband, and then you come back when it's time for the show, and they line you up in that order. It paid off getting there at 5 a.m. because I got number 15. Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
That is dedication, though. Wow.
So then I got some food, went to my car. I wasn't staying at a hotel or anything either. My plan was to leave after the concert, too.
Wow.
Got in full drag.
In your car?
And Yeah. I get in full drag in my car all the time because sometimes venues, they got really tiny dressing rooms.
That's true.
I'm gonna do it in my car.
Yeah.
I believe that kings should take up space, but I don't always want to take up space in the dressing room.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, like, it's your space, and you've got the mirror. Like, I can understand it. That could be a comfortable place. Yeah.
But I wanted to go specifically in drag purely for the attention. I wanted to get barricade, and I wanted Papa Perpetua, the front man, to see me and be like, "Who's that freak?" I'm gonna look them in the eyes and sing, and that is exactly what happened.
Yes.
Multiple times, to the point where I was like, "Am I being delusional?" And then other people that were at the show were messaging friends of mine and being like, "Do you know this person? They were getting so much attention from Papa." I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And actually, prior to that, back in the summer before, I went to see them in New York City, in Madison Square Garden, which was a super cool experience. But I was also in full drag for that one. And I was waiting outside to get to the venue, and they were doing interviews with fans. They were doing this for every stop of the tour, and they would put together like little YouTube and Instagram videos of the interviews that they did. And someone pulled me aside and said, "Would you like to be interviewed?" And I said, Yes, absolutely. So they interviewed me, and then I made it to the video. So if you go on Ghost's Instagram or their YouTube and you look up the interview from the Madison Square Garden, New York City show, you will see Land Shark about a minute in.
Nice.
Right there.
Yeah, that's where, you know, the drag background, it does really pay off, because like this is, you know, the skill set that you have honed for a gig. When you're outside of the gig, people are like, whoa, who are you? What are you doing?
They don't see that. And that was what I got a lot of, because when you go to these concerts, there's a lot of people in cosplay, which makes sense, but I was clearly not being a specific character from the lore. I was clearly my own thing. So I had multiple people coming up to me being like, "I don't know who or what you are, but you look great." And one person did come up to me and said, "Do you do drag?" I said, "You get it. You get it."
Nice.
But Ghost is a big, big inspiration for my drag. Always, always has been. I say all the time that the lead singer of Ghost is a drag king, whether he will say it out loud or not. Like, come on. You're literally a character going by a different name with a painted face you're performing on stage. What more do you need for the definition of drag king?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So many rock front men don't know that they're drag kings, is the thing. This is my agenda. We have to tell them. We have to tell all of them.
Like, okay, I mean, look at Kiss. It's another big one. Look at, honestly, any hair metal band, which is a lot of where, like, I get my aesthetic as Land Shark from, is from hair metal bands. Like, I love these guys that they are very comfortable in their masculinity on stage, but they're also exploring a feminine side too, to the point where it almost doesn't even get addressed. Like, they're wearing eyeliner and not even talking about it. It's not like, "Oh, look at this guy, like, he's so gay, you know, derogatory." Like, it's just, here's this rock star. Yeah. Here's this glamorous man.
Yeah.
And that's what Land Shark is.
Exactly. For anyone listening who is not already like a big Ghost fan, if you could beam one Ghost album or Ghost adjacent album into their mind, which one would it be?
Oh, this is such a hard question, because I always base it off of people's pre-existing music tastes, because I feel like they're all so different.
That's true.
But my personal favorite Ghost album is called Prequel, and it was actually the one that sort of planted the seed of, this is the kind of performer, this is the kind of character that I want to be. It is a revenge album. It's metal, but there is a lot of very heavy, like, piano influence and a lot of orchestral influence. Like, there's a full-on beautiful ballad number on it.
Nice.
So it's very, like, theater kid.
Yeah.
Is what that album is.
Yeah.
So that's my suggestion, to listen to Prequel.
And you know what? For a drag audience, I think that's a solid suggestion, a solid vibe read. Yeah, nice.
I know a lot of people know them from Mariana Cross, but that is also honestly one of their best songs.
One of my favorite numbers that I've done to date, and it was a couple years ago, I think I've rarely topped it. I did like an Ash Wednesday themed kind of sacrilegious mix, and like the middle transitional period is I took the bridge of Mariana Cross and added a little more reverb to it, and that's where I did some choreo with a rosary that I'm still proud of. I need to bring that one back out, but the problem is, like, Ash Wednesday is, like, in my head, I'm like, I can only do this right in, like, a 2-week radius of when Ash Wednesday is.
I feel like I could do that anywhere during Easter season.
You know what? You're right. I should expand.
Exactly. Well, hey, there's still 4th of July shows going all month, I'm seeing.
That's true.
So...
yeah, the entire Lenten season, that is like 6 weeks. So yeah, you're right. I'm selling that mix short. You're right.
666 weeks.
You're right.
Ooh, write it down.
Yeah, I'm writing it down in my notes right now. Yeah. We got it.
That's my favorite thing, is when a drag number or concept comes alive from just like a simple joke like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is you make one sentence joke and turn it into a whole 5-minute mix.
Yeah. No, it's that association. It's the, like, I don't know, like, I think that that's something, just how you can bounce from, like, the trajectory of going, like, from one topic to another, which I think is how, like, it's also how, like, a lot of neurodivergent brains work, where, like, you'll have this whole path from one topic to another.
Are you trying to say something about me?
Well.
I think the ADHD can be heard in this conversation.
We're having the autism to ADHD communication right now. Yeah.
But that's another strength too. Is like, people use your neurodivergency as a strength.
Yeah.
With your art.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, because like, art is born out of being quote unquote different. It is born out of being non-typical. Like, utilize that. Don't try to suppress it.
Yeah. The way that your brain works, no one else's brain is going to work exactly like that. So something that is like everyday run of the mill for you is going to be like so like surprising and cool to someone else.
Which is funny, because that's something that I have to remind myself when I'm coming up with my numbers and concepts, because sometimes I come up with something and I'll think, this is a really lame joke, this is really basic, everyone's just going to be like, ha ha, yeah, I get it, and then I present it and everyone's like, how did you think of that? But just like you said, like, to me, it's just my normal way of thinking, whereas that's not everyone else's.
Yeah, I will catch myself doing that too, where I'm like, oh, that's low-hanging fruit, everyone's thought of that. No, they haven't actually. I just live here.
Right! Exactly!
Do you have anything that you would like to promote?
Yes. So on July 24th, I am part of a show by FNL Productions. It is going to be at Harold's Haunt in Millvale. It is a projector show.
Oh,
I am
nice.
doing a duet number with the Spirit Leshy, who is one of my favorite drag performers in the city, is a big inspiration for me. So I am super, super excited to be doing that. There is some other wonderful performers too, but every number involves the projector.
That's so cool.
Highly encourage, if you're in the Millvale, Pittsburgh area and you're free that day, to come out and see it. If you're not able to make it, I'm sure there'll be clips posted online that I encourage you to watch and share.
Yes.
But I'm super, super excited for that. I haven't done a collaborative number with someone in a few years, so I'm just really stoked.
Yes. I especially do like those. I haven't like seen one in person yet, but I do love those projector shows because of like, you can both like, it adds something to the story, and also it creates like new different lighting effects, and it can get so either so haunting or so moving or so funny. Like, there's so, whatever it is, whatever your effect you're trying to create, the projector, I feel like, just dials it up. It's so cool.
It scratches that theater itch for me, because that is the one thing that I wish I could do more of in my drag, is create an entire atmosphere rather than just being a character, which is a fun challenge. But I love this idea of, we have our own background, we have our own lighting, rather than just, performing in front of the same bar wall that everyone else is performing in front of.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'm excited for you.
Oh, there's also going to be another Mom's Basement Challenge.
Oh, yes.
Happening in August as well.
Nice.
So I will be at a couple of those judging. But I really encourage anyone who has thought about doing those to just sign up and do it, because it's so low stakes. But for me, I learned so much about myself as a performer and as a person doing those competitions. And it is still some of the most fun that I have ever had doing drag. So anyone who is considering doing either that competition specifically or another competition in your city, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you're going to win, you might surprise yourself with how well you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use that and learn from it for the future.
Yeah, even if you don't win things, you'll still get feedback, you'll still get experience, you'll still get to see how you work under pressure.
Even if you don't win a title, you will still win something.
Yes.
That being experience, more connections, more insight to who you are. It is never a bad thing to try.
Well, I think that is good advice. This has been a really fun conversation, so thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad that I got to finally meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you for listening to Kings on the Aux. This episode featured Pittsburgh drag king Land Shark and was hosted by Cleveland drag king Caius Crow. You can find Land Shark's looks, performance videos, and upcoming show dates on Instagram at Landshark. That's land___shark. You can find me on Instagram at Caius Crow. That's CAIUS Crow. Questions, comments, compliments, complaints? Send me a message on Instagram at kingsontheaux or email me at caiuscrow@gmail.com. I'll talk to you soon on our next episode. Thank you for supporting local drag.